Brothers and sisters, gathered here tonight, does your blood run red? Are you truly free to sin? Are you ready to depart this world we're living in? Are you worthless and depraved and refuse to be saved? Please join in this refrain. I ask you once again.
Are you pure in heart like a true believer? Will you wake to a brave new day? Where the fear and the fire and the river of blood will wash your sins away. There's a place you're going where you've never been. There's a fountain flowing for the soul unseen, where there's a new world dawning and a new world rising. Will you drink from the skull of an unbeliever? Will you carry a shield and a sword and the banner of battle through the raging storm to follow the army of the Lord? There's a place you're going where you've never been. There's a fountain flowing for the soul unclean, where there's a new world dawning and a new world rising. Will you cede your soul to the cleansing power? Will you give suffering and pain for the grandeur and the glory of the sacrifice that will make you whole again? There's a place you're going where you've never been. There's a fountain flowing for the soul unclean, where there's a new dawn dawning and a new God rising, and a new God rising, and a new God rising.
Conradin was 10 years old, and the doctor had pronounced his professional opinion that the boy would not live another 5 years. The doctor was silky in her feet and counted for little, but his opinion was endorsed by Mrs. de Ropp, who counted for nearly everything.
He raised his glass up to his lips. He raised his glass and took a sip. The doctor said,
I am sorry, Mr. Rob, this will come as quite a shock. It's the answer I will give. He has not long left to live, and in 5 years may well be dead.
he held his glass up to the light, and trying then to be polite, the doctor said,
Your sherry is the very best.
I keep it for my special guest.
Well, if the boy has lots of rest, no excitement, provocation, no disturbance, stimulation, no uncontrolled imagination, he may grow and and you must make sure he's kept from books with violent stories. You must always keep him calm.
The Bible.
Instructive text can do no harm.
There was nothing left to say, so he put his glass back on the tray, and the doctor said,
I'm glad the boy is in your care. I know you can be strict yet fair, and I was so sure you would do all needed for his good. He should be so grateful to pass his final years with you, Mrs. Dearest.
Mrs. Durop was Conradin's cousin and guardian, and in his eyes she represented those 3/5 of the world that are necessary, disagreeable, and real. The other 2/5, in perpetual antagonism to the foregoing, were summed up in himself and his imagination. One of these days, Conradin supposed he would succumb to the mastering pressure of wearisome, necessary things, such as illness and coddling restrictions, and drawn-out dullness. Without his imagination, which was rampant under the spur of loneliness, he would succumb long ago. It's pretty warm in here. Mrs. Durop never, in her honestest moments, would have confessed to herself that she disliked Conradin, though she might have been dimly aware that thwarting him for his own good was a duty which she did not find particularly irksome. Conradin hated her with a desperate sincerity which he was able to mask perfectly. Such few pleasures as he could contrive for himself gained an added relish from the likelihood that they were displeasing to his guardian. And from the realm of his imagination, she was locked out, an unclean thing which should find no entrance. In the dull, cheerless garden, overlooked by so many windows that were ready to open, with a message not to do this.
Where are you, Conradin? What are you doing?
Or that.
Don't do that, Conradin!
Or a reminder that medicines were due.
Conradin, it's time to take your tablets.
Conradin found little attraction in the garden. The few fruit trees that it contained were set jealously apart from his plucking, as though they were rare specimens of their kind, blooming in an arid waste.
Where are you, Conradin?
I'm in the garden,
What are you doing, Conradin?
playing in the garden.
In a forgotten corner, however, almost hidden behind a dismal shrubbery, was a disused tool shed of respectable proportions. And within its walls, Conradin had found a haven. Something that took on the varying aspects of a playroom and a cathedral. He had peopled it with a legion of familiar phantoms, evoked partly from history and partly from his own brain. But it also boasted 2 inmates of flesh and blood. In one corner lived a ragged, plumaged wooden hen on which the boy lavished an affection that scarcely had another outlet.
When you're alone and in need of a friend, there's nothing better than a wooden hen. A ragged plumaged wooden hen. A wooden hen. A ragged plumaged wooden hen. A ragged plumaged wooden hen. Not a guinea pig has to trouble a rat. No smug, disinterested, selfish cat. Not a lamb, a cop, a goat or a hog, and not a slammer and stubborn dog. A hen, a wooden hen. A ragged plumaged wooden hen. A ragged plumaged wooden hen. ragged plumage to the head, ragged plumage to the head. Now the butcher got parakeet goldfinch around, those skulking swordfishes getting found. Not enough, a swan, a true little goose, and those screeching, screaming cockatoos. Ahead, ahead, to the head, ragged plumage to the head, ragged plumage to the head. When you're most in need of a friend, there's nothing better than a hootin' head, ragged plumage to the head. Ahead, ahead, a hootin' head, ragged plumage to the head, ragged plumage to the head. Say ahead, ahead, a hootin' head, ragged plumage to the head, ragged plumage to the head.
In the dumb, misty silence of the tool shed, he worshipped with mystic elaborate ceremonial before the wooden hutch where dwelt Sredni Vashtar, the great ferret. Red flowers in their season and scarlet berries in the winter time were offered at his shrine, for he was a god who laid special stress on the fierce, impatient side of things. After a while, Conradin's absorption in the tool shed began to take notice of his guardian.
Where are you, Conradin?
I'm in the garden.
And at breakfast, one morning she announced,
The wooden hen has been sold and taken away. Last night, wooden hen was taken away. It was necessary, and for your own good, the wooden hen has been taken away. The wooden hen has gone.
When you are most in need of a friend, there's nothing better than a hooden hen.
The wooden hen has been taken away. The wooden hen has gone. Would you like a piece of toast? Why don't you eat your toast? I thought you liked toast. I was sure you liked toast.
Sometimes a ragged plumaged hooden hen.
with her short-sighted eyes, she peered at Conradin, waited for an outbreak of rage and sorrow, which she was ready to rebuke with flow of excellent precepts and reasoning.
Do one thing for me, Sredni Vashtar, do one thing for me.
What else is there in the shed?
Nothing. Do one thing for me, Sredni Vashtar, do one thing for me.
What else is there in the shed?
Nothing. Do one thing for me, Sredni Vashtar, do one thing for me.
The woman ransacked his bedroom till she found a carefully hidden key and forthwith marched down to the dining room to complete her discovery. From the furthest window of the dining room, the door of the shed could just be seen beyond the corner of the shrubbery, and there Conradin stationed himself. He saw the woman enter. He imagined her opening the door of the sacred hutch and peering down with her short-sighted eyes into the thick straw bed where his god lay hidden. He imagined her prodding at the straw with her clumsy impatience, and Conradin fervently breathed his prayer for the last time.
Do one thing for me, Sredni Vashtar, do one thing for me. Do one thing for me, Sredni Vashtar, do one thing for me.
But he knew as he prayed that he did not believe. He knew that the woman would come out, and presently, with that fair smile he loathed so well on her face, and that in an hour or two the gardener would carry away his wonderful god. A god no longer, but a simple brown ferret in a hutch. And he knew that the woman would triumph always, as she triumphed now, and that he would grow ever more sickly under the pestering and domineering of the superior woman. Till one day, nothing would matter much more, and the doctor would be proved right, and in the sting of misery and defeat, eyes that had only known the wistful patience of defeat, under his breath, with furtive exultation, he began once again the pain of victory and devastation.
Sredni Vashtar went forth. His thoughts were red thoughts and his teeth were white. His enemies called for peace, but he brought them death.
And presently his eyes were rewarded. Out through that doorway came a long, low, yellow and brown beast. His eyes a blink in the waning daylight, and dark when stains around fur of jaws and throat. Conradin dropped on his knees. The great polecat ferret made his way down to a small brook at the foot of the garden, drank for a moment, then crossed the little track on the ridge, and was lost in sight of bushes.
And his teeth were white. His enemies called for peace, but he brought them death. Sredni Vashtar the beautiful.
Such was the passing of Sredni Vashtar.
Sredni Vashtar went forth. Sredni Vashtar the beautiful. Sredni Vashtar went forth. His thoughts were red thoughts and his teeth were white. Sredni Vashtar the beautiful.
His enemies called for peace, but he brought them death.
Sredni Vashtar the beautiful.
His thoughts were red thoughts and his teeth were white.
Sredni Vashtar went forth.
His enemies called for peace, but he brought them death.
Sredni Vashtar the beautiful.
Thoughts were red thoughts and his teeth were white.
Sredni Vashtar went forth.
His enemies called for peace, but he brought them death.
Sredni Vashtar the beautiful.
Thoughts were red thoughts and his teeth were white.
Sredni Vashtar went forth.
His enemies called for peace, but he brought them death.
Sredni Vashtar the beautiful. Sredni Vashtar the beautiful.
And while the maid went to summon her mistress to tea, Conradin fished a toasting fork out of the sideboard drawer and proceeded to toast himself a piece of bread.
Whoever will break it to the poor child.
And while they debated the matter amongst themselves, Conradin made himself another piece of toast. Thank you very much.
in the garden.
Where are you gone, Madam? Where are you gone, Madam?
Remember, kids, don't do alcohol. You might end up
Ozzy's
hungover.
bass line. Go.
I climbed the sacred mountain to the palace of the sunset, red and burning high above me, clouds of burgundy and scarlet, and the last fading rays of sunlight set the stones and rocks on fire to sing in praise of Sredni Vashtar, and the earth itself is bleeding, indescribable, ecstatic, a hymn of longing and desire. I stand before the gates of bronze and silver, and my eyes are deafened by the song of Sredni Vashtar, and my eyes are blinded by the dazzling reflection of the glory of the sunset that is the face of Sredni Vashtar, the great god Sredni Vashtar. I've climbed the sacred mountain to the palace of the sunset, red and burning gold around me, and clouds of burgundy and scarlet, and the last fading rays of sunlight to set the palace walls on fire to sing in praise of Sredni Vashtar, and the earth and sky are bleeding, indescribable, ecstatic, a hymn of longing and desire. All is burning, all is fire, all is blood, and all is holy. All belongs to Sredni Vashtar, to the great god Sredni Vashtar.
His thoughts are red thoughts, and his teeth grow white. His enemies called for peace, but he brought them death. Sredni Vashtar the beautiful. Sredni Vashtar went forth. His thoughts are red thoughts, and his teeth grow white. His enemies called for peace, but he brought them death. Sredni Vashtar the beautiful. Sredni Vashtar went forth. His thoughts are red thoughts, and his teeth grow white. His enemies called for peace, but he brought them death. Sredni Vashtar the beautiful. Sredni Vashtar went forth. His thoughts are red thoughts, and his teeth grow white. His enemies called for peace, but he brought them death. Sredni Vashtar went forth. His thoughts are red thoughts, his teeth grow white. His enemies called for peace, but he brought them death. Sredni Vashtar the beautiful. Sredni Vashtar went forth.
Normally, we all do both. Audience joins in the chorus. I think that's it. Right, look, animals the best for a pet, huh? Hen, let's go.
When you're alone and you need a friend, there's nothing better than a hootin' hen. A ragged plumage hootin' hen. A hootin' hen, a ragged plumage hootin' hen. A ragged plumage hootin' hen. No other king has the devil rat, no selfish interest in selfish cat, no lamb, God, go to a hog and not salmon, a hen, a hootin' hen, a ragged plumage hootin' hen, a ragged plumage hootin' hen. When you're in most in need of a friend, there's nothing better than a hootin' hen, a ragged plumage hootin' hen, a hootin' hen, a ragged plumage hootin' hen, a ragged plumage hootin' hen.
Sorry, Paul.